What's up, RotoGrinders? Dean here. That's Dean 7904 in the DFS circles. Of course, RotoGrinders, we specialize in daily fantasy sports, but this show, it's Card Stock After Lock. We specialize in cardboard. Oh, I thought I had a page open or something like that. I'm like, what is that noise? What? I thought I closed all my pages. I'm watching baseball scores. Is this official? Has this been cleared with I don't know. This is good to go. We're not going to get like pinged on YouTube for this, or
Dean, I promise my internet won't go out. That's all I can promise at this point.
I can't, man. My internet's been working hard today. I no issues. Cross your fingers, but we're a good 10 hours straight of no hiccups as far as internet. Of course, that voice y'all heard. That's Chief Justice Will Priester. We're talking, sometimes some weeks on this show we're talking the cardboard. This week we're talking Top Shots. We'll talk to Tambo in just a second. Tyler Tamboline. You guys know him from such things as golf and football and just DFS in general. So Will, we're talking Top Shots as the NBA Finals is going to be going off. Actually, I think about an hour away from tip off. And unfortunately, if you guys are watching it live, no Trae Young for Game 5. You want to see the best players play. That's kind of been a theme, unfortunately, for this entire playoff run. But Will, how are things in your world? Are you excited to talk some Top Shots?
I am. I'm really excited. It's been a couple weeks, and we're probably going to be maybe 2 weeks in between just because of how the schedule typically comes around with Jeff. Jeff is on every 3 weeks from sportscardinvestor.com. Clearly, we've got to get our lovely promo in there. Please, folks, get over to sportscardinvestor.com. 20% off that first payment. Promo code Grinders. That's going to get you access to market movers. Just a fantastic tool. If you watch some of the previous shows, especially the past month, it's been me and Tambo deep diving into a lot of these cards. And I think it's just been fantastic. And we've shown you the power that you can wield in your hands from the Market Movers tool. That's sportscardinvestor.com. Promo code Grinders, 20% off the first payment for the month or the year. Always want to advocate for the year. No, you do not get to use it on a trial basis for the month and then 20% for the year. It's one or
I don't want to fully commit for the year before I know it's a great product. Not that I trust that it is. You know what I mean? But
well, if you want to test drive it, that's why you got to watch the show. You can watch the show. We test drive it for you, and then you can decide whether or not you want to do it.
Fair enough. And I know you'll be doing some screen sharing later on in the show, showing off some top shots. As far as the conversation. Tambo, can you take me through the last month or so, 3 weeks or so? About how you have attacked Top Shots. So we're going to talk about the playoff packs in a second. And, obviously the offseason's right around the corner and see if we're going to be in buy mode, sell mode, just kind of chill and just kind of see what the market's doing. But Tambo, the last month, say I took a nap for 3 months or whatever, or even a month. And I've been away from Top Shots. What have I missed? Well, what's been going on the last month or so? Give me a catch me up.
Well, it's not hard, Dean. You actually have been away for about a month from this show. So we'll be honest with you. Yeah, you've definitely missed out on some stuff. We actually haven't talked a lot of Top Shot. Obviously, a little bit of negativity surrounding it with it going down. But I think a lot of things were going down at the same time. We'd been talking cardboard. As Will had mentioned, we went through and did some great shows with the Market Movers tool, kind of just showing you some good buys and things that we could find along the way, looking for these things in the off season. And we're kind of getting into the same thing here with Top Shot right now. It finally feels like, I guess you can't really call a floor ever, but people have been talking about it, that you feel like, the numbers are sort of steady where they've been at. They've dropped quite a bit, but now they've seemed to sort of level out, especially with Series 1 and Top Shot debuts and certain rookies and things like that, where now you could sort of make the call of, okay, is it going to maybe drop a little bit more due to the fact that the off season's coming and the playoffs are about to end? Maybe. But now you could sort of pick and choose your spots and see what you want to get after as far as what you like or what you're going after. For me, I'm still focused on the same stuff, Dean. So I'm always following along basically the 3 badge rookies, right? The LaMelo's down to 598. So I'll be keeping an eye on that one. That's one that I like. The Series 1, the Top Shot debuts. And then I'm looking at a little bit at some sets, one set in particular. I'm trying to wait and see if it'll go underneath $1,000 there. That's the Rising Stars set. I know we're going to look at some stuff later, Will. Maybe we can bring that one up, but I think it's sitting right around $1,200 right now. And I'd like to just pick up the whole set just to have. It's a lot of the best guys that, that are, up and comers in the league, the Tatums, the Mitchells, the Zions, bunch of other even bigger names. I just use the guys we always have talked about in the last couple of cardboard shows that we've done on here. And then you've got out of 10,000. So it's not like the most as far as the scarcity levels, but it's not the worst. So I'm really excited about picking up that full set just to have.
Hey, Tambo, you mentioned the LaMelo moment and you kind of referenced how much it costs right now. Is there a moment, and is that possibly the moment to point to? Is there one you can kind of point to that's like a good barometer as far as if it's a good market or a bad market, or if things are up or things are down?
Yeah, the ones I look at, and I think it's been pointed out by others in the past, it's where I get it from, but the LaMelo is certainly one of them. And then the classic LeBron James three-pointer out of 15,000. That one seems like the one that you can just roll off of because it's high liquidity. So many people want it. It sort of has steadied out a couple different times at its bottom, like as what we've seen as the bottom, at least, where it won't just go all the way out. It's hard with some of the, I will say this, Dean, this is the thing that, for me, why I use those moments is because of the liquidity and how often people, the supply and demand is always there from both sides versus something like some of the S1s. Like I've been watching the Jason Tatum MGLE S1 at a $299, and I think it's still over 2,000. Like it just will not go down. But at the same time, you got to remember there's only like 26 people willing to even have that for sale. And of those 26 people, 20 plus of them are at a number that's higher than they've sold at recently. So you're kind of just watching 6 people and seeing, are they willing to part with it for less? And you really got to be on your game if you want to try and pick that one up for a steal. But just little things like that, right? So it's much harder to gauge on some of these Series 1 debuts where you want them, but that it's just people that are holding them and they're not really letting go or letting them drop to a price. They're okay with just letting it sit.
There's so much upside in that Tatum, and he's still only 19 years old. So, but plenty of years ahead of him. He's still 19. Is that correct, Will? Or is he had a birthday recently?
No, he's not 20. He's not that. I'm not about to let my guy up. I wish he was only 19. He's 23 years old.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Come on. I was 22 or 23. I was going to say, I wish, but he's still got a lot ahead of him. And he's one of my favorite players, if not my favorite right now. I've talked about that plenty in the past, but I just think, like I said, just certain guys you're going to have to watch on. Well, in other cases, you can see where eventually people just decide to part with it and go down and keep letting it drop. So it'd be interesting to see, keep an eye on guys like Trae Young has had himself a really good playoffs. I know in the cardboard world, me and, Will looked at this last week, and he was one of the guys that was catching wind, obviously, because of how good his playoffs have been. But now he's injured tonight. They go down 3-1. He's like, that's just a guy that I would never buy right now. I'll just wait and see, because I think people will go, oh, it was kind of, he went up because of the playoff run. Now he's out, assuming this goes the way we would expect, because the Bucks are kind of free rolling their way through this Hawks team to get to the finals. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I just think it's guys like that you want to watch in the offseason.
Say what you want to say. The Bucks got lucky. That's what you want to say.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they got a little lucky. I still think they were going to beat the Hawks, though.
Would they beat the Nets?
I don't think the Hawks. I mean, look, guess what? We could say the same thing about Toronto when they play Golden State with Steph Curry and nobody else. So I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
It happens every year. So, and guess what? Everybody still calls Kawhi a champion. Everybody still calls the Toronto Raptors a champion. KD was out. So was Klay Thompson. So hey, it is what it is. The Golden State Warriors are still champions, even though Kyrie and Kevin Love were out. It happens. It's a part of it. And so at the end of the day, guess what? You want to win more championships? Get a better training staff.
They should have gave LeBron a title just for winning 2 games off that Golden State Warriors team with Matthew Dellavedova and the corpse of I don't remember. It was such a horrific teammates, but whatever. It's not worth getting into. Hey, Will, tell me this: playoff packs. They've been a thing. I got myself a playoff pack. Did you get yourself a playoff pack? And how has that invigorated the market? Are people excited about it? Of course, the packs have been plus EV. I pulled a Ben Simmons. Have you guys heard anything about him in his playoffs? Has that been good or bad?
Yeah,
how's that worked out for him?
It's been rough. Listen, you guys are my boys. My first playoff pack was probably just the GOAT playoff pack. Like, I actually pulled the LeBron out of that playoff pack. And, as soon as I did it, I said, I'm not making this mistake again, right? So I went into Slack, got in there with my boys. Dean, I'm not sure if you responded. You were probably like 2 days late as usual. And so I'm talking with Devin, I'm talking with Tambo, and I'm saying, hey, I ended up with this LeBron in my playoff pack. I'm like, man, it's a good moment because it's his last playoff moment, in my opinion, with the number 23 jersey on, because we know he's going to number 6. He's going back to number 6 next year, and he's catching a dunk off the backboard. And so it's a unique moment. And I thought about it, and it's like, yeah, but it's not like, some crazy. If I had serial number 1, I probably would have held it. But at the end of the day, we decided to sell. I think that was the right choice. Added a little.
How
bit.
much? Current lowest ask right now is 69 in the. I'm reading
the LeBron.
Yeah.
The LeBron playoff. The current ask is $69.
Yeah, out of 12,000. Correct.
I sold it for 175 ish. 170 somewhere right there. So
you made a good deal.
So guess what? We've learned our lesson here, and I think Tambo. Thankfully, I have good friends like Tambo and Devin to ensure that I don't keep making that mistake again and hold. Because in the Top Shot space, what I've realized is, what have you done for me lately is the name of the game, right? When it's fresh and it comes out of the pack and the moments haven't been out yet, people don't really know where to price them. And so if you get it early, you might as well let it go. That may be the highest price that you can sell it for. And so that one ended up being beautiful. My other playoff pack, I think I ended up with Drew Holiday. I can't remember what I ended up with, but I sold both playoff moments out of that most recent pack. And so I still think it's a little bit of plus EV. I will say, in terms of kind of a guy that I want to track over the summer, and I hate it because it feels like he might have a shot to win a championship. But I do want to grab some Giannis moments, but I'm just trying to wait for the right time. And now it's just the wrong time. Because I actually think he's got another MVP in him. If he wins the championship this year, plus another MVP, like I think, clearly he's going Hall of Fame, but he's somebody that I'm really contemplating trying to get in on. I was actually looking at a moment from him. Devo, let's roll that beautiful bean footage, please. He's got a Cosmic Series 1 here at 49,000. Hasn't moved. I guess somebody's probably had it up. But I do kind of want to get one of these higher end moments. I'm not saying I want to necessarily grab this one per se, but I do want to get my hands on a high end moment of Giannis long term.
And let me ask you this. Well, if I think that Giannis and the Bucks are going to win the title this year, I kind of do. I think they're going to win the title. I think they beat Phoenix. Should I buy a moment now? You're talking about the right time. Should I buy it now or buy it after they win the title? Because in theory, I would imagine it would get a boost afterwards, but I don't know. You tell me. What have you done for me lately? I just want a title. Price should go up, right?
That's what it feels like. But what I will say is, these higher end moments, you're not going to see a whole lot of fluctuation on them like you do the lower end moments. So like if you're looking at this right now, where we're talking about highest ass, like look at this. None of these have really changed because the prices are set. And if you want the moment, you've got to pay for it, right? So that's kind of why I'm kind of interested in some of these higher end ones. Like even look at the Paul George. I mean, he's at 81,000, but hasn't really had much volume change or anything like that. So in terms of no
one's buying any of them though. So that's why. Right. So what that tells me is those are priced too high. People are just willing to hold on to them and not dip their price. So I can jump in real quick and tell you right now, Dean, I wouldn't buy it at all because I think it's not to come down on it. It's just the facts. It's already priced in. Anything Giannis does right now is already priced in. Even if they don't win or whether they do win, we've seen it so many times. It's like buying the Mahomes card when you already know they're headed to the Super Bowl. Everyone already expects that Giannis is at least going to be there and have his shot, even before Trae Young got injured. That was just last game. Like I'm talking before the series started, people were saying it's going to be a cakewalk for Milwaukee. Now that they're all set up to get there, it's going to be fine. They're going to make their way through it. So I don't think there's going to be any leeway to it or maybe, more than the smallest amount, even in the higher end ones. Also, the other thing about Giannis is he's got so many moments. You go to that, Will, just go to the marketplace for a second and pull up Giannis. Like go look at how many moments he has. That's the challenge with him. And so I would actually wait. Even if he does things, he's a guy that people will quote unquote sleep on even after the season. Even if he wins the championship and wins the MVP, he just, for whatever reason, doesn't get the love that some of the other guys do. You're never going to see Giannis get LeBron love. So you'll just see people still come down on those prices enough that then you could still pick it up. And as a collector, you should still wait to do that and just get it for the best possible price. And if it continues to go down for whatever reason, so be it. But I don't think there's any value in buying Giannis right now to make money or to turn a profit or anything like that, as far as I'm concerned. And all these high-end moments, they're not moving because nobody's buying them. Like, that's the thing. So they're not, to me, that's the market telling you, if your house sits on the real estate market.
Oh my God, I thought that was me. All right. I was going to ask, and I'll ask this to you. What about, and I think that's a good point he was making before he froze up on us. What about Middleton? Is it also baked in on Middleton? I know he's not as sexy as Giannis, but, you know, a super like second player on a good team. You have any thoughts as far as Chris Middleton there, Chief?
Well, just in terms of Top Shot, I don't feel like Chris Middleton is ever going to be the creme de la creme, right? And that's not a jab at Chris Middleton, I promise. But it's just the lay of the land, right? As good as Kyrie Irving was in the finals, he's never going to be LeBron James, right? As good as Chris Middleton is, Giannis is still the face of the franchise. And so I don't really want to pick up, you know, too many Chris Middleton moments. I think if you do that because that's something you want to do personally, not because, you know, you're interested in profit or something like that. So that's where I am. And the last thing I'll say before we move on to something else here, Dean, is, you know, we talk about having a plan, and I don't want to hog Tambo's slogan, but having a plan is very important and trying to figure out how you want to handle it. You know, what your approach wants to be. And so in this case, you know, the difference between me and Tambo on this one is I actually want Giannis just to hold it, like just to have a high-end Giannis moment. And I'd probably maybe try to sell it later, but that's just kind of where I am there. And anyway, I think Tambo's back, so we're going to let him plug on back in.
I heard you, like, but if you and I want the same car, don't you want to buy it for cheaper? Like, don't you want to get the same cheap price I get for it? Absolutely. Like, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I get it. It's just for me and I don't know if you got the real estate analogy, but I was just saying, like, these moments that are sitting, if my house is the only house on the block not selling and everyone else's house is selling, and I go and ask all my neighbors, what's the deal? And I can see on the market report, especially use that example, because that's what we have here on the blockchain. What did you sell it for? Oh, we sold it 20,000 less than you, but we still got this price. Oh, well, then now I'm not selling because I'm priced too high. And that's what's happening here. There just isn't enough demand, even with all the people that know about it, all of that. And I know with marketing coming and all these factors that everyone just assumes, but I still think because there's also more moments coming and have come that you can see where you got to start making some decisions. So again, back to the plan, as always, knowing what you think is going to sell or what you like. I always go back to the same thing. Buy what you like and want to collect and would be okay sitting on it if nothing happens or if it continues to go down. But in this case, I think there is some market decisions that you can make to do both. Like you and I just said, where I think if you just wait, you'll get the Giannis. We knew the Mahomes card when we talked about Mahomes in the Super Bowl was going to go down. Even if he won, we knew it was eventually going to go down a little bit after that Super Bowl and go down from there. And if we were buying, we weren't going to buy it the week of Super Bowl festivities. We were going to buy it the week after. And it's the same kind of thing here for me. I'm just going to wait till this offseason and keep monitoring. And I just don't see anything just yet that's going to boost it enough for me to say, okay, I got to get it right now.
And there we go. I'm going to hop right in, Dean. I do want to piggyback off of that because that is what we're focused on in this show, right? Like off-season acquisition. And so the bottom line is this. General overview, this offseason should be fantastic if you want to get in the Top Shot, right? You know, like you've got your eye on the LaMelo. It's in the fives. I think it'll hover around there, maybe get a little bit lower in the offseason, right? We come back, I mean, maybe, you know, the season's going to end in July sometime, maybe in August, September, when football's kicking off. I mean, we're going to have pick of the litter, I think. So
yeah,
I'm really excited about the offseason for Top Shot because here's what I also believe, Tambo. As much as I believe these moments are going down, I also believe if we stockpile now and get the moments that we like, you could almost get in a cycle with Top Shot unless the market changes, right? Buy in the offseason when nobody's looking, when the NBA is getting ready to start back up, people will be more interested. We can sell it for, I don't know, a couple hundred more than we paid if it's like a LaMelo moment. Like if you get the LaMelo moment for $500, I'm sure you can sell it for $1,200 during the season, maybe $1,500. And then I'll just wait next offseason and buy it again. Like, and I'm not saying I'm going to do that. I'm saying I feel like where the market is right now, that's the approach I'm going to take. Any moments that I get right now, I've been emptying all of my moments. Like I just started selling moments. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to build up as much dapper as I can. I don't care about my collector score because when September and all, when August and September roll around, I want to pounce while no one's looking, and then I'll get my collector score back up.
Yeah. No, I'm fine with that. That's what I said. I think that's exactly what you should be doing right now. I think for me, it's just from what we've seen, we've seen a lot of things not cross over between cardboard and Top Shot, but at the same time, I think there's some that do line up, and definitely one of them will be when football comes back and everyone's focused on football. That to me would be a safe point, or hopefully is the lowest point, and we get to buy in we can make an educated guess or decision on now it's time to buy, because even, it might only be slightly lower than it is right now, but I would expect it to be lower. Maybe it's more, maybe it's a lot lower. When I was first looking at that LaMelo, I was saying if it will go below 1,000, I'll be interested. Once I saw where this was headed and where it was going, I just left it. I didn't buy it. And now it's down to 598. I don't think it's going to completely go down further than that, like a huge amount or anything. I'm saying more, I think the time to buy is exactly when you said, right when football comes back, when everyone's mind is focused on that, that's when they're looking for money to buy football cards and buy different things and all the other stuff that's going on in the world. I think that could be our best opportunity to pick everything up. And I think one point you made there that I really do like is just the collector score side of things. As much as we want it and the excitement is there and we need it in some cases, I think you can get it back pretty quickly in a spot like that, where, like you said, you can gain it right back. And what packs are we truly going to miss out on? We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But what packs are you really thinking you're going to miss out on in this lull of an off season? So don't be afraid to sell what you can, build up your dapper, buy things back for cheaper, or buy a better moment, consolidate, whatever it might be, buy a set like I had talked about earlier and get in on something like that way. I think that's a great call.
You like what they did, Tambo, as far as the collector score? And I think they did some tweaks as well. There were some complaints about it.
Yeah.
Where it's at now, do you like the whole concept and where they're at as far as the collector score in general?
I don't really like it, to be honest. I think what I'm glad about is that they made tweaks and that they're willing to continue to work and improve and get better. And I expect that part's awesome. I didn't like some of the stuff, especially in the beginning, right? With, like people were saying, they put over 100, some people put over $100,000 into the marketplace, but because they chose to sell at certain times or whatever it might be, or not hold certain things, they're penalized. Like that, you shouldn't just be considered an OG because you bought in early and then held all your moments. You shouldn't be in trouble for selling and making a profit or wanting to take some of those gains because you got in early on something and want to be able to go buy a house or buy a car or buy something or take care of your family or whatever that might be. I just didn't like that aspect of it. So again, I know they're working on it. I'm glad they're tweaking it. We are still early in the sense that with this, the turning point for me from this beta, we're agreeing with people on this stuff that say, oh, it's not beta, you can't call it that. When I'll agree with those people is when we get wrapped around to the next season. So let's see what the offseason bring. Let's see what all these investors bring, the marketing, all these factors that were brought into play. To me, I haven't seen any of that come to fruition yet. So that's when I'll start to make overall grand scheme decisions on what I think is going on, versus right now I can still be bullish and say that, maybe I don't have to buy right now, and that you can say that I'm not bullish because of that, but I'm allowed to peg a market too and say that I think that I'm picking my spot is when football comes back, is when I want to see where the market's at, and then I'll make the decision to buy back in. I'm still sitting on Dapper. I got plenty of moments that I'm still sitting on. I've got lots of things that I'm doing that can still be bullish. I just don't have to buy at a time where I feel like it's going to continue to go down. That's just business, finances, smarts, whatever you want to call it. I don't feel like that's the right move for me.
The Top Shot team, they have to be aware. Obviously, they know the season's coming to a close, NFL around the corner. Are they working something up? Is there kind of any sort of rumors out there? They're not just going to be sitting around for 3 or 4 months, I imagine. I don't know. Is there any sort of rumors, any sort of speculations? Have they teased anything as far as what they're going to do during the offseason to get people still interested or even thinking about Top Shots?
Well, I haven't seen anything, earth-shattering. I think the big thing is, when is the marketing really going to ramp up? and are they working on something to be ready for NFL? I think that's is it going to be ready this year? Is it next year? I don't know. When's the MMA, kick shot coming?
Yeah.
I just said it to be funny, but they've got these other projects that I think are working in tandem. And while Top Shot is still in beta, I do think it gave them a pretty good idea of maybe how to scale it, what bugs to look for. Because the bottom line is this, in terms of cardboard, I do feel like basketball is kind of king in a sense. But in the grand scheme of American sports, football still pretty much rules the day. And so I do want to see what's going to happen. Is the NFL version going to be more popular than the NBA version? Because in the collector space, currently, the NFL is really picking up steam, but NBA is still where it's at in terms of cards, right? And so I do want to see what happens with football moments versus NBA moments and kind of how that all shakes out. So that would be what I'm thinking is coming down the line. But clearly, guys, in terms of this offseason, I think you really want to be prepared. If you're in the Top Shot long term and you feel like this is a collector space that you want to be in, you need to be ready to pounce in the offseason. Because as the NBA starts to come back around, I do think, that's when the prices will start to run again. And I just want to be prepared, and I think you should be prepared as well.
What about being speculative as far as, I know I kind of we joked about Ben Simmons earlier, but there seems to be a really, really good chance he's not going to be in Philadelphia next year. And people get excited about new and opportunity, and maybe he gets traded to a team that has a better opportunity somehow for him, or the prospect of Dame Lillard getting traded out of Portland, and there's some rumors there with Boston as well too. And who knows? Is that something like if Lillard gets traded to Boston tomorrow or whatever, a team that could be all of a sudden instantly an NBA final, threatening team, you'd think that his Top Shot would go up, right, Tambo? Is that something that's worth doing? You want to be proactive as opposed to reactionary in theory, but I don't know if that also works in Top Shots. Have you thought about stuff like this?
I think it does for sure. I think so that all that would tie to, though, from everything I've already said on this show, is that then if you're, if the offseason, if you're worried that the Lillard move happens, before that somehow, whatever it may be, I'm just saying as an example, then maybe you have to pounce a little sooner. But Lillard would already be a guys like Lillard, Giannis, some of the big name superstars that just, only get love certain times of the year. That's who I want to buy, because they just don't get LeBron love, is what I keep calling it. But you know what I mean? You don't see them get that same love,
but nobody
until
does, right?
Until they,
Besides
yeah,
LeBron?
no, but I mean, until they do. There were people, Dame time was all over, blew up Twitter every night when they were first going off, and LeBron wasn't doing anything at that point. But again, we were at a certain point in Top Shot where it didn't really matter. Same in the card space and everything. It just was already this conversation of a downward spiral and all these factors. We're talking about flipping out a beta, getting to the real deal, a whole year of marketing, everything else coming in, where that's why I'm making these speculative plays in the offseason. And that's why I'm going to pick those guys up. I'm not saying they're going to get to LeBron's money. I'm not trying to say that. I'm saying that they have room for good ROI based on what you pay and what they could go for. Maybe they go for 4X, and that's still not even close to what LeBron goes for at 2X. But my point is, what can I get on my money based on that if I'm buying in for that reason? And that would be the type of superstar guys like Devin Booker, Dame Lillard, Giannis, those types. That's what they are for me versus someone like LeBron, Tatum, SGA, a little outsider for me, but guys that I would rather speculate on to hold long term and try and buy better pieces for them versus the others that I'm trying to buy and flip.
Yeah, I just remember, and this is a kind of a bad example probably because the market was different at the time, but I remember when Nurkic was coming back, and he kind of came back by surprise, like, oh, wow, Nurkic is going to be back tomorrow night. And that I went to the marketplace and I bought a Nurkic, and it doubled in price in 24 hours. Now I held on to it, and it's since gone down, but just sort of the same similar thought process. But, Nurkic obviously isn't LeBron or he isn't Dame, but similar sort of idea. And also he just goes from not playing to playing is different than playing from one situation to another that we can speculate on.
Yeah, we want the Dame Lillard's a good example you brought up because the trade could happen. If that's huge. We did it with Carson Wentz in cardboard. We just use him as an example to a good team and to an Indianapolis Colts team. And that speculation definitely helped those cards go up. And it can be the same with moments, but Dame can also have big fantasy games. So almost like a Kyler Murray effect right? Where you can have, or a Josh Allen, where they can have one big game and all of a sudden everyone's on them again saying, oh, I forgot about them. Like how good they can be. Remember, like you'd think people wouldn't, but that's what ends up happening. So there's those. The other thing is like the Nurkic thing. Like, though, I think these days have long passed. Like the Nurkic one is almost like where Josh Hart was going to be on a YouTube channel opening up packs and Josh Hart moments spiked. Like that's not going to make him any different, better, greater, nothing against him. It's just the facts of what's going to be worth money. But people did spike those at that time, but there also was much less moments as far as what's on the market availability wise, just in general. Now people, it doesn't have to be that there could still be the same amount of Josh Hart moments. There's not, but there's more Dame moments, more Giannis moments, more the stars that people actually want to put their money into and go buy, which leads to those guys dropping in value huge, the other guys, because even though they may only have one or two moments, they're not somebody anybody's ever going to really want besides the collector aspect. That's it. Or a challenge, if that, maybe.
Will, you have thoughts on this, or is there anything else you wanted to show off as far as a screen share? We only got a couple minutes before we step aside and get out of here. We got to make way for the golf show. It's going to be on here the YouTube. Hey, what's up, YouTube? Not many are watching live, I don't believe. If you guys are watching it on the tape there, hit the like, the subscribe, turn on notifications. Do appreciate that. And hey, if you guys want to play some DFS golf and you're watching live, stick around. The golf show is coming around. I assume, Tambo, are you on that? Yes?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Noto and myself today. Cards is on vacation.
There you go. Will, thoughts as far as this topic and anything else you want to show off before we step aside and get out of here?
Man, believe it or not, I am good. My boy Tyler, you know, he always puts a fantastic bow on everything and just brings it all together. I'm really glad we got to do another Top Shot show because I did, and I was really passionate about this today. Like, please, ladies and gentlemen, the off season is coming. I'll say it again. If you're passionate about Top Shot, just be patient, right? Right. I hate to pull out, you know, Warren Buffett quotes, but wealth, right? If you want to accumulate wealth, it's just a transfer of money from the impatient to the patient. That's all it is, right? And so if you're going to be patient and wait for these prices to dip, we're going to buy the dip, right? And then we'll hold it. Like once I get the moments I want, I'm just going to sit on them. And then when the season rolls around, we'll see if the floor comes back up. And I think it will, you know, especially on some of those guys like we talked about, like the Dame Lillards. You know, Kemba Walker's clearly already gone to OKC. We'll see if he stays. But, you know, a guy like Dame moving to a contender, that really could move the needle. And so I think if you've got your hands, and I don't think we have to buy all, you know, like hollow moments. Like I think the ones that are going to move are going to be the ones that are in that, you know, 12K, 10K range, you know, 5,000 mint, 4,000 mint, some of the ones that are still affordable for the masses. And I think those are the ones we'll need to get into. Hopefully the Knicks don't empty the treasure chest to go and get Dame. I think that would be a mistake. But, you know, there have been some interesting, you know, stuff you see on Twitter about people, oh, the Knicks are going to just mess up their organization again by going to get Dame. We'll see. But I do think Dame is probably going to be one of the hottest commodities of the offseason in terms of where he ends up.
It's a star league, man. If you can get Dame, get Dame. There's nobody that – I mean, anybody in New York, you trade them. I saw a Knick fan saying they wouldn't trade Barrett for Dame. And, like, you're out of your mind. I don't know what the rest of the package may or may not have been, but –
well, that's the problem is what they have to give up. If they've got to give up Barrett and Quickly and
who are those guys?
I mean, look, I would do it too. I'm not saying I wouldn't. I'm just saying, you know, if you go and get Dame and you've got to give up 4 or 5 guys, you know, you've got to be able to field a team, Dean. Like, you know, Dame still isn't LeBron James. LeBron can get by with a bare cupboard and still get to a championship. Dame is still going to need some help.
Yeah, Tam, well, you have thought? I know this isn't the topic of the show.
I don't see, like I said, I wouldn't. I know everyone thinks it's crazy, but I wouldn't want a Dame and Randall team and think I'm going anywhere, just so you know, in New York. So I know you can have other guys that you can put into that mix and say, but what about this guy? And they may only have to give up Obi Toppin and Barrett or something like that. Why? Like, I get that, but like you still need to add more somewhere else. So
have you seen who the coaches there?
It all has to make sense. It all has to make sense.
Have you seen who the coaches there? It's going to be Dame Lillard, Derrick Rose, Julius Randle, Taj Gibson. They're going to go and get Joakim Noah out of retirement. They're going to pick up Luau Deng. That's the team they're going to have if they get Dave Lillard and trade all their assets.
They're going to retroactively win the 2013 NBA championship. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. And I am partially joking, but I'm also partially not joking.
Well, we have to set up the golf show, but it was a fun conversation. If you guys enjoyed us again, do it, just subscribe here on the RotoGrinders here at YouTube. And next week, you guys, do you know who's coming back next week, Will, as far as the cardboard show?
Oh yeah, I think the whole band will be back together. And Dean, I'll look at the schedule, but more for sure, me and Tambo, and we'll pull up the schedule and see if me, you, and Tambo are going to be back for cardboard.
I may or may not be in the band. I can play a mean triangle. I can shake a maraca pretty good. That is the show. We do appreciate you guys watching. Feel free to add some comments there in the comment section. That said, this was Cardstock After Lock. That was Chief Justice Will Priester and Tyler Tamboline. You guys know him as Tambo. I was Dean. We're out of here. Holler.